Hello, everyone. We should be live right now. Just let us know if you can see and hear us okay. Fingers crossed that you can. I shall just jump into the live feed to check that we have gone live. It should be the first one that comes up, and it isn't. Right, so yes, we're live. So, turn the volume down. We've got eyes on, so I know people. Yeah, I know people can see us, but can people hear us? Hopefully, you guys can. So, say hello in the comments. We've got Doug. Oh, Doug, nice to see you. We've got Daniel. Daniel, I know you're going through a bit of a rough spot at the moment. Fingers crossed. That gets resolved for you. I'm probably going to talk a little bit about not your situation, but something that you might find handy actually with regards to your situation at the moment. And I can see why you were probably attracted to this session by the title for sure. Yes, thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. So good to see everybody. Hi, Gemma. Hi, Jackie. Howdy back. We are back. Johnny is back from his, well, you're not back from, I didn't realize when you said you're on a non-holiday, you actually were on a non-holiday, as in you are away. You're not on holiday. I was like, no, you are on holiday, but you're not.
I think that's where there was some confusion.
I was leaving you alone for like a week.
Yeah. No, I'm in Tenerife. Probably come back December for the Christmas parties and all that. But yeah, I'm actually more productive here than back home because there's less commitments, so I can actually get more work done. So actually, it's pretty good for me. And Tenerife it's kind of not much to do here apart from golf, which I can do back at home. Like it's not like America or Mexico City where there's lots of like social things. It's more you just kind of put my head down and work here, which is good.
So you're back digital nomading, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always kind of had that because I've never had a permanent residence in the UK. I'd always go back to sort of temporary to a house back in the UK. I'm quite lucky because I don't know if I've mentioned this, but my parents live in Portugal, so they have a place in UK free. So I just go back and sort of house it and pay them rent. So that means I don't have to have like a lease or anything like that. So it works out really, really well for now. Yeah.
So you are a bedroom bandit, to be honest, as well.
But like I've been doing this for so long that I've kind of got it kind of nailed down. Like I brought my golf clubs from the UK to Tenerife, so I traveled with my actual golf clubs. I've got like my Muay Thai and boxing kit with me, so I've got all my gloves. So I've got all my sort of kit that I would have at home, the essentials that I would need to sort of have my hobbies. So there's no real difference here to me, to be honest. It's exactly the same. Yeah, like I said, I get more work done. I'm just not going to the warehouse every couple of weeks, which I don't really need to be fair anyway.
Which is a distraction, going to the warehouse.
It's a distraction.
Yeah.
It is a distraction, actually. I mean, it's nice for them to see, but it is a distraction for me because I'm not really getting work done. It's more just, hello, I still exist.
Whenever we go up the warehouse, it literally turns into a social event because everyone's chatting, everyone's doing this, everyone's doing that. So I totally get it. It is way more like Matt's going up there. He's going to spend the day up there tomorrow. And it's one of those things. He's like, I need to go up there. I need to sort shipments. I need to do this. I need to do that. And I'm like, you're just going to spend the whole day chit chatting with everyone up there. And you're all going to probably get a McDonald's for lunch, and it's all going to be like a social event, and you're going to do this and you can do that. Whereas I totally get it. You can be more productive outside of it. But anyway, hi, Rosie. Good to see you too. Check your DMs. I sent you a message earlier as well. So make sure you check in on that. Afternoon, everyone. Loads of people are jumping on. I did think that this would be a popular one, because it seems like that at the moment, right? It seems like, and this is open discussion. So I haven't got anything in particular that I want to talk about. I just want people to throw out their kind of questions in terms of, how are you guys feeling about Amazon at the moment? This is predominantly an Amazon group. We know in terms of our pay group, which is the Hive, that we we're going to be venturing into different, sort of categories than Amazon, more so in the next 6 months than we've ever done so previously. TikTok, Shopify, all of those things, but not in a shiny object way. We've got a plan. We're sticking to it, with the new bundle rules and everything like that. And so I just want to get people's thoughts on how they're kind of feeling at the moment. Are you feeling demotivated? Are you feeling optimistic? Are you feeling frustrated? What are the feelings that are driving you at the moment? Because I was just talking to someone about this morning, actually. I really do feel that we are kind of caught in this trap at the moment of uncertainty, I think, is the best word on Amazon. It feels risky. It feels, like it's uncertain, unstable, that you could be wiped out at any point. That's what Amazon to me, and that's me. I'm an Amazon guru saying this at the end of the day. So, if I feel like this, and I'm not fully reliant on Amazon as an income stream, what are the people that are feeling like that at the moment? So I just want to get a sort of general consensus. I want to get your thoughts on that, Johnny, as well. But what I want today's session really is reassurance to kind of say that, yes, I get why people are feeling like that. I'm feeling like that a little bit at the moment, but we can't make future business decisions on things like hearsay, on things that have not been being confirmed as yet. But also, we just have to plan for what we can do on the future. But at the same time, and it's really, this might sound like a weird thing to compare it to. I can only compare what some people are going through now. Of course, it's a very different example to probably what I went through in the summer with my daughter's diagnosis, which was being trapped in a period of fear, and which is natural, by the way. That's the first thing. It's all right to be scared. Well, it's not all right. No one wants to be scared, but it happens. It's natural. That's what we do. But I think there's a difference between living in fear and allowing it to consume you. And what I worry about is, at this moment in time, is I can already see it happening. People are allowing the fear of what's happening on Amazon to consume you, to consume them at the moment. And they're making rash decisions. Oh, I'm not going to do this, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to change this whole thing. We simply don't have enough information, I still think, to make really firm decisions moving forward. And the trouble is, the more you allow that fear to consume you, the more it will overtake you, and the fear will win. You won't win against that fear. So you've got to make a proactive decision moving forward to not allow it to consume you. Now, that's not easy. I had to do that in the summer with my daughter's diagnosis. And it's a step-by-step thing. You can't just wake up tomorrow morning and say, right, fear no longer rules me. It no longer rules my life. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to allow this. You have to make small steps at a time to be able to get over it. And it's important to know that the fear is still there, but it's not consuming. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
Hopefully.
Yeah, the problems I'm having right now is not particularly Amazon's fault, but it's the sort of third-party sellers who are abusing brand registry and doing sort of counterfeit without test buy. I think Mark posted this on the group the other day, where someone did that against him yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Where he works directly with the manufacturer. But the problem is for Mark and for myself is that you can't actually appeal this because you're in the wrong for listing on the wrong brand. So like the actual advice that we got was you don't actually appeal these because you're in the wrong. So even it's his, again, and those third-party sellers shouldn't be doing what they're doing and abusing brand registry when it's not their listing. You can't actually appeal against it because like I said,
they're technically correct.
Yeah. So it's that's the thing we're sort of trying to like cleanse our listings now.
Yeah.
We're not too worried actually about our own listings. It's more being someone else sort of doing these sort of counterfeit without test buy listings and abusing it themselves, which is what I think they need to clean up. It's like the sort of Cadbury pack of two, and it's definitely not Jim's grocery shop who's the brand. It's Cadbury, and they're abusing it. That's the thing that's annoying me right now, and you can't appeal it, which is also more annoying. Where like a month ago you could and get it off, and you could get it off, but since statistics are revising to not appeal.
And I think this is the most important thing, and I don't want to keep going over old grounds, because Mark very kindly came on for 2 hours on Wednesday, and we chewed the fat. We went through all of this, and great authority on the changes that are happening now. And I think it's really clear to say we know why this is happening. People have abused the system, but also it's like that scenario you've just used, Johnny, that one person is not entirely in the wrong and one person is not entirely in the right. So what people have done, yes, they've abused the system, but Amazon has allowed it to happen. So what's the chicken and the egg in that scenario? Who's to blame, essentially? So we've established that, and that's what we've kind of got to move on for now. Now, what Joe said here, this is exactly the comment I was hoping for, which is totally, oh, sorry, Joe, I don't want you to be totally demotivated, but I was hoping someone was going to say this along the lines, not that you're demotivating, but the next part: owning your own business should be fun and exciting, but Amazon has so much control. So I want to scale that back. I've been in business for 15 years. And there have been times in my business where it's been fun and exciting, but the majority of that time, unless I am running I'm just trying to think what would be fun and exciting. Right. This is a good example. Owning a bouncy castle business is fun and exciting whilst you're selling bouncy castles and the kids are jumping up and down on them. But what is not fun and exciting is rolling those bouncy castles in, setting them up, putting them down, and doing all of that. So I understand what you say. It should be fun and exciting, but the reality of owning your own business is the majority of it isn't. The fun and exciting bit is the reward. When you get to do all the fun stuff, I think that this type of business facilitates. Like before my daughter's diagnosis, 4 amazing business class flights, Disneyland, sorry, then he made my mistake then, Disney World holiday, paid for by Avios, all the points. That's the fun and exciting part of owning your business. Getting your new car. I'm not just talking about the material side of things. I'm also talking about the achievements. Today, I woke up to a lovely message from somebody that had used my training to be able to reverse a Section 3. And, for me, that's fun and exciting, as in knowing that something I've done has been able to help someone else. That's the motivating, part of it, essentially. So I'm not saying that that's an unrealistic expectation, but the added pressure of working on a platform like Amazon that does have those extra restrictive abilities doesn't help. So it's about finding that balance between the two. But fun and exciting things are finding a new supplier, and that's the way I sort of see it, essentially. I don't know if that's made you feel
I get. I mean,
or worse.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, I get more fulfillment now. Say we find a new supplier and that brings in X more revenue per month. That actually excites me more than most things, that material wise for me. So like, I don't really care too much about the fancy things anymore. The sort of getting a new supplier that will bring me X revenue per month. And I don't even care about, I'm going to make more money. It's just a nice feeling for me. That's the fulfillment I always get. It's just improving the business and working with more partners, etc., etc.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And going back to what Joe says, I just mean you don't get the graft. You don't mind the graft if you get all the benefits. Exactly. That is exactly it. It is about putting that work in. So the part that is demotivating essentially is I think sometimes people are quick to blame that on Amazon. So And quite rightly so. Again, I'm not saying anyone's wrong here, but I'll give you an example. So I know a lot of people in the property world, right? They run estate agents. I know lots of people that do B2Bs, not B2Bs, whatever they're called, Airbnbs. I know quite a few people that do the rent to rents or whatever they're called. You know, right. Stop saying things, Natalie, just in the property world. Over the last couple of years, the property world, in terms of legislation, changes that have been made, I'd imagine those guys feel the same way about property, some of the things that the government's put into place, some of the things that have changed because of Brexit, you know, all these different types of things, as we feel about Amazon. I know people that have lost businesses overnight because of changes that have been made in the world of property. I have literally, I've got a good friend who owns a very established chain of estate agents in down here, well, where we live in London. And they popped round the other day and they've literally said that the majority of their deals, 90% of all their deals, are on hold until the budget tomorrow. And that was last week. And that's been like that for weeks and months.
The Hive is a group of online sellers. We specialize in Amazon. We're a network, we're a community, and we're all about bringing success to everybody through expert content and resources that you just can't get anywhere else.
The Hive has SOPs, documentation, short videos, clips, long form videos, over the shoulder videos. It has everything you need.
Both for beginners and advanced sellers.
I mean, I probably thought that I knew quite a lot about the selling on Amazon in general, but then when I joined the Hive, it was almost like I only knew 10%.
We keep everything so up to date knowledge, up to date strategies.
Natalie, Matt and Johnny will just explain how it works in normal English.
The best part of being in the Hive is a community.
Any question you have, you can put it in the Hive.
And you can get just problem solved so fast.
You can ask a question, there's an answer there within 5 minutes.
We are confident that you are receiving the best level of content out of any training and resource group in the world.
Same with lots of developers and lots of businesses. A lot of people who are funding developments as well, they put it on hold as well. So gaining finance is more difficult now because everyone is just like, now I'm holding cash. I might have to take this cash out outside UK and leave. Like that's actually what's happening. People are leaving the UK now at a record rate because they're just like, they don't trust this Labour government. And obviously everyone get into politics, but they have obviously just lied to our face about the manifest.
Oh my God, stop talking. We don't want to get into that.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. Go on.
Yeah. No, it's politics. I try and keep politics out of it as much as possible, but using it as an example, that world of property, which when I first entered this Amazon space, I really do think that there was one way people went. They either went to property or they went to Amazon, you know, the people that were looking at building additional incomes. And it's ironic that Amazon does get a lot of hate, quite rightly so. But I see exactly the same thing happening in another market. And, ultimately with bigger consequences, I might add, or sometimes much bigger consequences. And it's all relative. And this is the game, guys. You know, this is the game. It doesn't matter what business you are in. If it's physical shops, rents, leases, you can literally be running a successful business on a 15-year lease, and all of a sudden you come to renew the lease and the landlord says, sorry, no, I'm either going to open a similar shop in your place, which has happened to people I know. They say, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to open my own shop there now. I had some of my best friends had that with a lease of a pub. They'd put their life savings, everything into building up a pub over years and years and years and years, come to the end of the lease to renew it. No, we're going to take it back in-house. Happens in every single aspect of business. So Joe is 100% right here. The fun and exciting thing, and sorry, I know I'm paraphrasing Joe because it feels like I'm saying this to you, but I'm not. We have to take the benefits of this type of business, whatever we're doing, and not get distracted away from that this is an Amazon issue, and Amazon hate third-party sellers, and Amazon hate business people and doing this. This occurs in every single business opportunity going. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's online, physical, whatever. It can happen at any point, at any time. It's how you manage it. That's the difference.
How you adapt as well to any change. Because the sort of core reasoning behind why the model works or why a business works will still be there. So, for instance, on Amazon, people are still going to shop on Amazon. People still want next day delivery, and Amazon retail aren't going to cover 100% of all the brands, right?
Yeah,
they're covering less than 50%. So there's a market for us. So there's some sort of business that's going to exist, pending compliance and stuff like that.
absolutely.
With property, we're still very far behind our building targets of like how many new homes we built, like way behind. So again, with property, there's still absolutely a market there if you do it the right way, and there's still a business there if you do it the right way. The problem is that people had like 20 buy-to-lets, which are not very liquid, and then interest rate increases by a couple of cent points, and you lose all your profits, but you rely on that for your income to pay for your mortgages and stuff like that. That's the issue, right? You need to be resilient and adaptable.
Yeah. And you've got to make hay while the sun shines. So again, I was speaking to someone else about this morning. So that's a really good example, actually, Johnny, taking into account, and we will come on to the third-party seller thing in a moment, but taking into account what you've just said there about buy-to-let, interest rate increases, people's yield or whatever got wiped out, essentially within quite a short period of time. Well, what's interesting is that change came much later than was expected. It was COVID that prevented those interest rates from going up and doing this, because we went into a period of uncertainty as a country. So the period of uncertainty that we're in the moment, especially in the UK market, is a little bit more clear in the US market, with all these bundles and creating opportunities and things like that, is whilst we're in this period of extended uncertainty, which COVID was, if you compare it to the property market, we're in a period of this extended uncertainty. We have to make hay while the sun shines. So we don't make any firm decisions until we have a clear directive from Amazon. But it doesn't mean we can't slowly start to shift, adapt. And like I said, in the Hive, we've already got a plan moving forward. We know what we're going to be doing. Well, everyone might not know, because you might not have seen last week's session, or what we're going to be doing moving forward with the new training and everything like that. So, but we have a plan. A plan is in place to target this. So we had that essentially, within the property space. And it feels again like I'm picking on property, but it's a really good thing. So we don't panic. We make hay while the sun shines in Q4, exactly what Mark said last week. Then we regroup and we decide what we're going to do moving forward. And the only thing you've got to make a decision on now is whether or not what you're going to do right now, not what you're going to do in the future, because that's a transition period. But I suppose coming back to the question, does Amazon hate third-party sellers? Because I think there's a clear differentiation between the two, what we've just spoken about, and does Amazon hate third-party sellers? Because that conversation, I think, has been very animated over the last 4 to 6 weeks, where I have flat out seen people saying, yeah, Amazon hate third-party sellers and it's over, in terms of third-party sellers being able to continue to sell in whatever capacity. And I'm not just talking about OA. I'm talking about in whatever capacity moving forward. So that question, we have to look at it objectively, and we do have to say, well, the evidence suggests otherwise, because Mark will say, Johnny knows this, most of you will know this, that there are 60% of all sales on Amazon are being driven by third-party sellers. So is Amazon realistically, could it be in a transition? Well, again, broken down in more questions. Is it in a period? Are we in the start of a transition period where it's going to move away from that and take back control? Well, the evidence doesn't suggest that. It's cancelling vendor accounts. It's telling people, you got to sell direct. You've got to do this, you've got to do that. Is it trying to work with more brands directly and not supply? Maybe. That's a different argument. But Johnny, sorry, I've been talking for ages. I I'll think it over to you. I firmly believe that Amazon does not hate third-party sellers, but I do believe we're in a transition period of what the scope of the platform is going to look like in 3 years' time.
Yeah, I don't think they hate third-party sellers. I think they just don't like their catalog being all messed up. But I guess it's more the question is, would they prefer all sort of just brands than sort of retailers on the site, right? I think that's more the question. Of course, they love people selling on their platform because that's where they make their money, right? With all the referral fees and stuff like that. I think they're just getting rid of the non-serious. They probably hate the non-serious third-party sellers.
Do they though? I don't know if they do. I don't think they hate any third-party sellers. I don't think if Amazon care if you sell one thing or you sell 20 things or you sell 200 things.
I think it's more, I guess, yeah, they're incorrectly creating listings and then doing all that sort of. They hate that, and that's probably why, like, yeah, I doubt they hate any third party sellers because it makes them money, doesn't it? Exactly. And any traffic, yeah, anyone who sells and gives traffic to Amazon, they like. Yeah.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I think they favor sellers, and Mark will shoot me down for saying this because he says that they don't, that he gets treated exactly the same. And in terms of compliance, I do believe that, Mark could as easily get suspended tomorrow as I could, that I do believe that is the case, but they certainly favor certain types of sellers. So I think, Johnny, your business in particular is 100% the type of business Amazon would love all of their third-party sellers to run. I don't think there's a better example in terms of what they want, how they want people to run a business, because you have grown your business now on the majority of Seller Fulfill Prime, and things like that. I think they do want people using their fulfillment centers, but not to the extent that they were. So anybody that is prepared to come in, not fill up their fulfillment centers with crap, and still utilize and represent the Amazon brand, that I think is key. The thing about Amazon is they are about reputation. They are about customer is king. They are about all these different types of things. And this is where the majority of deactivations and suspensions come from, is because whether they're true or not, they believe that you are not representing the Amazon brand as it should be represented. If you do, then they will give you extra credit. You will get more credibility on your account. Say, for instance, Johnny's following the rules. He's doing what they want. He's not sending loads of crap into the warehouse, for it to just sit there costing them money. He does not have to have them pay staff. Well, whether it is crap, I don't know, Johnny, but that could be, debatable. But you're not costing them any money. You as a seller are only making them money, and you're not giving them any hassle.
Yes, I guess Seller Fulfill Prime, they're just taking your referral fee, and there's no cost to them at all. It's just profits.
Staff, you're not costing them any staff. You're not costing them any carriage. You're covering everything. You are, as a seller, pure profit. So, looking at something like that, does Amazon hate Johnny? No, Amazon loves Johnny. He's a really good example of what Amazon love versus what potentially they might less like, if that makes sense. But I don't think they hate anyone. Sorry, there's loads of comments here, and I feel like when I get on these rants, sorry guys, I just literally can't stop myself. Because I am quite passionate about it, and I've always been passionate about it, because a bit like what Joshua said here, I'm front of of many people when it comes to hating Amazon. For me, it's I always, this is how I compare it, and I shouldn't, but it's like a kind of abusive relationship with Amazon. It's a real love-hate relationship in terms of, you know, how can you love someone and hate them so much at the same time? That's exactly what Amazon is. But I really don't believe that Amazon hate third-party sellers. I believe Amazon love making money and being number one in the market, and that will always win over anything else. But I do believe we're in a position of transition where they're not getting rid of small sellers. I don't believe they're getting rid of small sellers. They just want the brand to be represented accordingly. And now they've not enforced stuff before, which they are now enforcing. And so it feels like they hate third-party sellers. But it's not that. They're just moving in a certain direction. And I feel that, unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of scalping along the way because they're going to be enforcing stuff that they previously haven't.
Yeah.
And this platform will look very different in 3 years' time. And if you move with it, you're going to be incredibly successful. If you don't, but you also don't have to be like you, Johnny. You don't have to do the type of business. We're just saying that everybody gets treated the same, but I do think they favor certain sellers more. So you don't have to do the way that Johnny's done it to only be a success. Just, you know, making that clear.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? Even we're having issues, and this is a little off topic, but we're having like Buybox issues where on a lot of our listings, we've priced down 10% and just the Buybox doesn't switch to us. And we have the exact same delivery speed, Prime badge. It's happening on lots of listings. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they actually, this year, like in June, they committed to complying with CMA commitments, which is the, what's it called? The Competition Market Authority, where they can't do that. So like, I don't know if anyone else has had this issue where you could be 10% below the FBA price or the Buybox, you just don't win it with the exact same offer. I never know of Amazon. It just sometimes it just doesn't make sense, and sometimes you just gotta, roll the punches, right? And just
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I love Mark's comment. Mark Charles says crap sells. It absolutely does. Someone will always buy you crap. There's no doubt about that. And that tongue in cheek is actually a really serious point. The demand never goes anywhere. If anything, the demand continues to grow. So I read a stat today. So in Q4, I think this was in the US, Amazon sold 170 billion. In Q4 23, this year, they expect to exceed that. So not only does the demand remain, it is continuing to grow. So, pardon?
Well, there's also Amazon. We've got to remember that the inflation on Amazon is beating real inflation. So I guess we've got to factor that in, right? I guess as to
potentially
it's still going up. The revenue's going up. Yeah, that's the most important thing.
The revenue is going up. Absolutely. Yes, I see what you're saying, you know, in terms of cost of goods, but then anyone that's a vanilla OA will tell you those prices don't seem to go up. If anything, they go down. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think the demand is there. And if Amazon do go ahead and purge the catalog in the way that we possibly think they might do, the amount of opportunity that's going to bring is going to be absolutely huge. And Amazon is just going to fall in love with anyone that's going to be able to provide that. But one thing is for sure, even in the face of all this uncertainty, and I will keep banging this point home until everybody listens, is Amazon will not put themselves in a position where they jeopardize customers going elsewhere. And I will fight with anyone on that, you know, argue with anyone till the cows come home on that. If anyone truly believes they are going to shut it down to send it into, because TikTok have been playing a brilliant game. They absolutely have. They've been a sort of jokey platform and they've waited patiently. And, you know, they've sort of, you know, for people that sell what other people would normally sell on TikTok. But TikTok have slowly spent the last 3 years legitimizing their platform. It used to be that only young people would shop on TikTok, you know, with their parents' permission or something like that. No, Indiana has been really fortunate over the time that she's been sick, where lovely people have sent her gifts and things like that. There's been a few gifts that have come through and I've not seen them before. And, you know, from people my age in their 40s, you know, middle age, that kind of thing. And including my 60-year-old auntie sent this really cool like present through to my daughter. I said, where did you get that? She went, oh, TikTok shop. Well, yes, that's one incidence, but more and more people are using that now. So we have to adopt that and we have to utilize it. So Amazon is not going to send the lockdown at TikTok. They've been waiting. They are waiting there with open arms to embrace all of these people coming in. Do we really think Amazon is going to send them down there? I don't think they are, personally. But admittedly, does Amazon think, okay, maybe we've got enough cover now so we can get rid of certain stuff and we do have enough demand to be able to fulfill what's coming on, but we have to wait and see what their actions are going to be, you know, moving forward with that type of thing. But coming back to it, I still don't think that they hate third-party sellers.
No, they're not. It's the clickbait answer. Clickbait title of the clickbait answer. Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. It was a clickbait answer for sure. So Kiram has said, I've got to go through some of these comments. I feel I've been on a rant.
There's lots.
Yeah, sorry. There is, guys. Kiram says TikTok's moving away from being a slightly better Temu. Absolutely. And even those platforms, you know, Amazon is launching a platform to combat that as well. So that's going to be something that's going to be a big change coming in the future. But luckily, it's going to be one of those changes that is going to impact the private label world. And if you're not going to be doing what we're going to be doing moving forward, then that world, because it always feels like the OAs, it always feels like the resellers get like the worst of all of the changes. Whereas the stuff that Amazon's putting in place at the moment, if you don't have a good plan moving forward for knowing what an Amazon customer wants and how to create that, and you're not selling Me Too Chinese products, that's massively going to be impacted. The private label world has got a big rock their world coming with what Amazon is creating to compete with the likes of Temu and Shein and possibly TikTok as well. So don't just think it's us, guys. It's the other side of it. But I believe there's a happy medium that we can achieve moving forward, which is obviously what we talk about in the Hive. Here we go. So a couple of questions here about the seller fulfilled Prime. Jackie says, we don't understand why we don't get the buy box on our SFP listings. It always seems to go to the FBA option regardless of price. So we talked about this recently, didn't we, Johnny?
Yeah, just gonna make sure, just check and make sure that it's showing next day delivery, because sometimes this seller fulfilled Prime will show sort of 2-day delivery. Because what Amazon do is sometimes they'll give you as a thing called padding, where they're going to increase your delivery time to the customer, what shows to the customer if your carriers aren't performing. So this is nothing to do with the sellers, it's to do with the carriers. So if your carriers you're using are not performing, they're going to put padding on your account, which will increase the delivery speed, and then your 2-day you have no longer have next day delivery, so you cannot compete with FBA. So yeah, I'll just check when you have next day delivery. Are you in the buy box? Yeah. I mean, it's because it's the same. It should be the same speed. If it's showing that the same delivery day and it's the same price, then according to sort of the Amazon's commitment to the competition and market authority, it should be sharing the buy box with you. But then again, you just can't trust Amazon or actually, sticking to that, because you know what they're like.
Yes,
that's what I'm having a problem with right now. Yeah.
And I think
even Sean said that as well, by the way. He's saying that it could be to do with historic stockouts, which again might be a new buy box criteria. I'm not too sure.
Yes, we've seen that across, Hive members. A lot of people have said that their sales have fallen off a cliff because of buy box issues and things. I generally think with buy box issues, they're very sharp, but can often be short. And it's a bit like, the algorithm needs to relearn a way to do it. A bit like when you're teaching someone something, maybe shock and awe first of all, but then it learns a new way of doing it. And I think that's probably what happens with the algorithm on Amazon, because algorithms are like AI, right? They're learning.
Yeah,
I think.
And also a bit random, but something I learned recently is that if you're using all the repricers who will use Amazon's API, when they're fetching the buy box, they fetch the subscribe and save buy box, and they don't actually fetch the one-time purchase buy box. So in a lot of these listings right now, it thinks I have the buy box at, say, £7.99, but the actual one-time purchase buy box is at £8.80 because it thinks the buy box is at £7.99. That's just something I discovered recently, that they're picking up and subscribe and save as the buy box rather than the one-time purchase. There's a little interesting thing there.
That is really interesting. So if there has been just a one-time buy box,
so if you always have two offers, right? Subscribe and save, and you have the one-time purchase. And sometimes subscribe and save will be a lot less than the one-time purchase. But obviously most people will buy from the one-time purchase. What your reprice will pick up on, we'll think that the buy box is in the subscribe and save, which is a lot lower, and we'll try and match with that, which will decrease the price. But actually, there's no way around this. The only way around it is if you check the buy box with Keeper, but repricers won't use Keeper to get their buy box.
Of course. No, they just go for the buy box.
And Keeper obviously do that by scraping the web page, and they don't use the API. But the actual API says that the subscribe and save is the buy box, when it's not true.
So there's no way around that unless the repricers change the way that they look at, and they can't.
They can't. No, they can't. Because then they'll have to start scraping the web page, and then they're against terms and service. So a little interesting thing I learned while trying to, for the last month, discover like what's going on here. Like I even built my own mini repricer to try and win the buy box, like a yo-yo repricer. I built my own custom one to try and trick it, and it's just it works a little bit. So you go down, then you increase it. It maintains the buy box as you increase the price, and you'll lose it. And you have to go back down, and it's the only way I'm going to win the buy box. And we'll see what happens. Like, hopefully, I can maintain the buy box at a higher deduction than the person who's winning it. But it's very frustrating. I'm having to sell this listing at so this listing I'm having to put the buy box at £6.79, where the other person any more than that, the buy box will go to the person who's on at £8.80. So £2 cheaper I have to go. So 25% I have to price down to win the buy box on that listing, which is nuts. That's the buy box conversation. I think that's, I don't know. But
that's definitely a buy box conversation, not beyond the buy box. It needs to be a whole buy box conversation. It's one of those things, unfortunately, that I think we can all be guilty of doing that. I know I am on loads of occasions, saying, hey guys, guess what, there's this, blah 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 blah, and this is the reason. Oh, but there's nothing we can do about it. Sorry. But knowledge is key, there's no doubt about it. And it's not even, you can even sort of account for that in your due diligence or anything either. It's just nothing you can do with it unless you can. Well, let's just hope Johnny finds a solution, then you can tell us all about it and give us a workaround for it, for sure.
I doubt it because it's just never going to tell you their exact algorithm, are they? They're going to be, you'd have to go to actually you have to report it to CMR. So the CMA, sorry, the actual Competition and Market Authority.
Which we know the Competitions Authority in the UK, in the EU, in the US have been coming after Amazon for years, and they've managed to bat them off. The majority of the time, they have managed to keep them at bay. So I really don't think that's going to make a huge amount of difference. It's like the HFSS rules, right?
It's another thing. They don't care.
Yeah, it's the HFSS, which we've seen a resurgence of lately, because Johnny hit the nail on the head when he said this, as in the reason why people's listings have been restricted again recently is because there's been an update to the legislation. So that's why we've seen more people's listings being deactivated. But sorry, deactivated, not deactivated, deactivated from PPC. But what's really interesting is the reality of it is none of us should have to abide by, you know, even Johnny, with your size of the business in what it is, even you shouldn't have to abide by it, you know, by HFSS, because you should have to, you need over 50 employees. Mark would have to do it. You know, he would have to apply to, you know, it would apply to him. But it wouldn't apply to anyone with less than 50 employees. But we have to abide to it because we sell on the Amazon platform. And we also know Amazon don't care about it either. They've just got to show, like Joshua was saying, we know when new policy, when something comes in, they've just got to show that they're abiding by it. That's what it is. And many sellers come under the crossfire.
You just got to remember, like Apple, Amazon, these big companies are bigger. The regulations and rules don't apply to them. They're bigger than the government. They don't care because they rather risk getting a fine than change their ways. Just that's the problem. Like,
they're not going to shut Amazon
you know,
down, are they?
Yeah, and you just can't do anything to these big companies because, again, like if you punish them too much, they just leave the country and then you just lose loads of revenue. It's just there's no way about it. Like these countries make their own rules. These big companies make their own rules and they override any regulations and stuff like that. And unfortunately, it's always like the CMA thing. They made a big deal of it. They've done it's very apparent they've made no changes. Yeah. HFSS. Again, I keep going about this, but it's like you're not allowed to display chocolates at the front of your store. You know, a month later, Morrison's, Tesco's all had chocolates at the front of their store. They just didn't care. They're like, I'd rather pay a fine than not display our fast-selling products in Christmas at the front. Just give us the fine.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. Like that's again, like,
yeah, they don't.
People always go after small businesses,
rule.
but the actual issue is always the big companies.
Yeah, it's a stupid rule as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Tax the sugar. Fine. Do that. Don't tell people what they can buy and what they aren't buy. Okay. Tax the sugar, restrict services on the NHS. Don't tell them what they can do. You know, give them the choice, let them know the consequences, but don't try and stop. Don't restrict, don't control. Isn't, you know, sort of 1984, which we seem to be heading into, not the year, the novel, you know, that we seem to be heading into more than anything else. If people want to make stupid decisions, let them do it. You know, that's the way I see it, essentially. Joshua says Amazon UK released a statement some months back, which did point to some Buybox reconfiguration. Sorry, Amazon with the Buybox is treading carefully around legislation that says sites like Amazon or marketplaces cannot preference their products or services over users on their own platform. So yes, we know that this is a big thing going on in the US. So Buybox implementation will be under this microscope. So we know, so for anyone that's watching, we do know that this is a big thing that in particular is going on in the US that will eventually be spread out. I'd say it's more driven in the US, followed by the EU, potentially with the UK at the back, because I know competitions authorities in the UK, in the EU and particular America, will do this. And we've talked about this previously. Depending on what happens in the next few weeks on the election in America, will determine a big direction in which Amazon in particular is going to go. Pardon?
I mean, we already know the results. It's already pretty much a given. It's like the odds are now crazy favor Trump, aren't they? So.
Oh, are they? Do you know what? I haven't even looked at it. it. And
you look at the betting odds. The betting odds are like 65% in favor to Trump. So it's kind of guaranteed almost, unless something crazy happens.
Well, I'm pretty sure Hillary Clinton was guaranteed last time that conversation came up.
Yeah, I don't know. That depends what I don't know what the betting.
I don't think you can call it. I think it's too close to call. Personally, I think it's too close to call. But I haven't looked at any of it, to be perfectly honest. And I used to watch a lot of the run up to this sort of thing. And it's a reminder, actually, a true reminder. I think that yesterday was you don't know until you know. So the bookmakers, if we're talking, everyone's saying about the bookmakers, don't get it wrong. So yesterday, up until about 12 o'clock yesterday, we're a football family. Many people know us, that Vinny Jr. was winning the Ballon d'Or. He was the favourite. All of the odds were on him. And then it got leaked. It got leaked. My favourite player one. Absolutely. Yeah. My favourite player. He's my favourite player too. And we're big
your
Rodri
favourite player.
fans.
Sorry, that's what I mean. Your favourite player.
Yeah, my favourite player. My favourite footballer won the Ballon d'Or, so I was really happy. But in that case, so much so, and it got leaked that actually Vinny Jr. hadn't won it, that Rodri had won it. But in that case, that was a clear example of where the bookmakers did get it wrong, because that was a big surprise. That was a shock yesterday that Rodri won it, which is crazy considering what he's achieved in the last 12 months in football. But I used to watch all the run up and the build up to everything, and now I just think it can go over way. So I just wait for the result now, regardless of whatever you think the result is going to be, essentially. So that was just a fun, interesting fact. So which is good. Got 2 tickets to Man City v Bournemouth on Saturday, so I'm really excited about that as well. But Rodri's not going to be there.
Start gambling then, because that's if you notice inconsistencies, and maybe you need to start gambling then, because if you notice inconsistencies in the betting odds, that's where you make money, right? So maybe you have an eye for it.
No, I just
the odds were like,
they were massive.
Vinny was. Yeah.
Oh, I think Johnny's glitching.
It's glitching again. Sorry.
Yeah. Are you back?
I can hear everything. It's just the glitching for some reasons being strange. Yeah.
I love that. Do you know what, Mark? I'm all in on that. Mark says, I heard that if Trump gets in, he's going to close Amazon and support Elon's platform X for selling bundles. I'm all over that for sure. That would be amazing. I think that's the best proposal I've heard for any type of e-commerce platform going, for sure. Open bundles on Bundle X. Absolutely. Just going back to Jonathan, his question where he said, is everyone enrolled in the Amazon Business Seller Program? Is it a must? Are you talking about the 360 program? I just want to clarify if that's the one that you're talking about. If so, it's very hit and miss. Johnny, you're not a member of the seller program, but then you will speak to someone like Mark, who absolutely says it's absolutely essential. I've been on it previously, and I'll be honest, in my opinion, I can speak with it, that it was literally about as much use as a chocolate teapot. So it was. I was actually on the 360 program, or the business service selling program, when all of the what were they? I forgot what they're called. The restock limits came into place. And you would actually think, oh, great, I'm part of this. So this is going to be able to help. This is going to be able to get me through it. But you would ring them up and you would talk to them or send them an email, and they would literally say, oh, no, there's nothing we can do. And you're sort of like thinking, why am I paying to be here? You know, what is this for? So maybe I never experienced at a time that it was useful for me. But for me, it wasn't, it wasn't that great, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, Jackie said we paid a fortune.
What percentage of your revenue is it? Isn't it 1.5%?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So like when I had a chat about this, it's mainly like a marketing person who works for you, right? But this marketing person has 11 sellers that they work for. So you're getting like 11th of an employee with Amazon inside knowledge, and you're paying 1.5% plus like 3K or something, right?
I'm not sure.
Something like that. Something like that is the cost, or something like that per month. So for us, where we do, that would be costing us sort of like $7-8 grand a month, almost close to £10,000 a month for 11th of an employee. So you're essentially paying £120,000 per month. It's like £1 million salary for us. Essentially, what you're paying this person. right? Because you're only getting 1/11 of his time.
Oh, right. If you divide it by that person.
I know
Jackie says, Johnny, I'd actually question their inside knowledge. Yeah, so that is a classic example of, and I know this, I've been experienced of this. Somebody we work with on ClickFox, which is where we handle their PPC, where I've had to go in and resolve problems, and these people they're on the Amazon reseller program, their business program. They have an Amazon employee that works for them, and between the two of them, they cannot figure it out between those people, and I had to go in and fix the problem. So it is a classic example of that type of thing. So for me, I do believe, like Mark says, it's going to be more beneficial to larger sellers. But again, Mark, I don't want to put words into your mouth. You, as I've always understood, that you say it won't save you from anything. You know, it won't save or prevent a deactivation or anything like that whatsoever. I know Hayden had this question with someone on TikTok that was saying, well, I can pay Amazon to run my PPC. Well, yes, you can to a certain extent, but it's only worth paying them if you feel that the people that are doing it have an advantage over external people, which I agree with Jackie. I would entirely question that they do.
Yeah. And the other problem that I had with it was that I get reached out to, it seems every month. They've reached out to me on LinkedIn. They've cold called me. They've really tried to get that sale from me. And I feel like if anyone's trying to do that, that must be very profitable. There must be a big win or commission or something for them to get that. So it doesn't feel like exclusive. It feels like they're like begging me for that to happen. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know, when you get like cold calls every week and you're like, oh, it's Amazon 360 again. That's happened a lot. Like, and I just, anything that I just get put off if you're oversold too.
And also tied up by too much as well. I always question, and this is what I always say, you know, in particular in the Hive, come and go as you please. You know, it's a monthly payment. We do this. Yes, we have a joining fee. We have this and things like that. But that's to keep the idiots out. So, you know, we do this, but you'll notice we don't tie people up in disclaimers and terms of service and this and that. And, you know, if you do, anyone that tries to get me to agree to lots of different terms of service, which again, I know is ironic because I'm talking about Amazon, but I read that stuff and I quite enjoy reading it. I was reading it this morning, funnily enough, and I've spotted something new. By the way, guys, new bundle stuff, info, probably for the Hive tonight, is whether it's not, I didn't see it before, or whether or not it's new, I don't know. Can't attest to that as yet. So, but I was like, if I'm signing up to a program and someone says, right, okay, this disclaimer, and we can't do this, and yeah, we'll say it occasionally for things like if we talk about tax, we're not tax advisors. Of course, we have to say it in that respect. But if someone tries to get you to sign up to too many terms of services and promises, lots of guarantees, well, if you don't do this by this time, we'll do it. You're never getting your money back, guys. Don't fall for that. Do not fall for it. I've seen so many people say, well, do you know what? I've signed up to this TikTok thing. And someone messaged me from the Hive the other day. So 99 quid a month. And they've said, do you know what? The Hive's been great. I've picked up so many tips to business, but I want to go off and do this. And I'm going to pay a fortune for it. So I can't do both. And that's fine. You know, but you can bet your life they've probably been sold on, well, if you don't do this in 6 months' time, you'll get this. But you read the small print, what you've generally got to do is unattainable. So always where you place your money, and again, the argument is for something like this, if it costs you thousands per month, would you not be better off maybe taking on an extra remote worker? Or would you not be better off outsourcing your PPC? Or would you not be better off doing something like that as opposed to just blindly paying thousands for not knowing what you're going to get? I think that's the argument I would look at. What could £3,000 that you could be paying to Amazon in your business do? What could it produce? Or is it just better off in your pocket? Are you better off not growing and just keeping the £3,000?
Yeah, I saw someone selling it for something for $10,000. And if you don't get your first $10,000 in sales in a month within 6 months, then you can get your money back, sort of thing. I was like, $10,000 for a beginner to join their course. I was like, who's this guy? I don't know if anyone saw this.
You will never, ever get your money back, guys.
No.
Especially if they've said you need to do it for this amount of time before you do this. Otherwise, you will get your money back. You will never get your money back. They do not want to give you your money back. You will never get your money back because they will tie you up with so much and victim blaming you of what you didn't do that you're never going to get your money back. It's as simple as that. So always give yourself with something like that. If you think you're going to come into the hive and change your life within a month, you're not. The people that change their lives in the hive are the people that have been in there for 2 or 3 years, to be perfectly honest, that do it consistently, day by day. They make small changes. They look at that £99 a month and they say, right, do you know what? I learned this from the hive this month, and that's worth that 99 quid. That's what they do. And they look at that. And I'm using the hive as an example, but whatever part of program or whatever you're investing in, whatever software that you're part of, that's how you need to look at it. Because if someone comes along to me and says, in 3 months' time, you're going to be earning £3,000 a month and you're going to be doing this, that is probably illegal. Because that's the only way, right?
Yeah. Usually. Yeah. There's no such thing as it's the gold penny syndrome, isn't it?
Yeah.
Making those sort of promises.
A lot of people allow themselves to sleep at night because they say everything works, right? It depends whether it works for you or whether or not you have the commitment to do it. So selling on Amazon works, but it doesn't work for everybody. So I have no problem selling stuff on Amazon because I know it works. I do it myself. I've worked with hundreds of people that I've helped to do it with as well. So I know it works, but it won't work for everybody. So I have to make a decision at some point in which I say, I'm not going to say that every time I sell something or do the hive, because I think that should be common sense more than anything else. Yeah. That's the way that I see it. But there is a difference between that and someone saying, okay, you need to be in here for 6 months before you see that it could be working. And then you can have your money back.
Yeah, you're right. I posted in the group that we just did our first $1,000 of sales on the US marketplace. And this is a completely different strategy for us because you can't sell food in America, which I keep banging on about, but you can't unless you have food facility numbers and a food safety plan, et cetera. But, even for us, that was took probably 6 months of planning and figuring out the best way for us to do it, the best way for me and my business to do and work it out, the logistics and what to sell and how it all works and the box prices, pallet prices, et cetera. But it took us a time. So but if someone says you can get to $1,000 in 2 weeks, it just doesn't really work that way. Everything does take a bit of time to get off the ground for sure.
Yeah. Hassan, why am I not getting impressions in my exact campaign? I'm losing sales as the campaign was performing too well. You're being outbid. That's the likelihood, is that you are being outbid. So you need to up your bid price and put it up and find the sweet spot. That's the likelihood of that. There's not really any other explanation other than that. And that's interesting because we had our ClickForce meeting this morning. We were talking about, one of the things that is such a big thing for people is if your sales are going down and you're heavily reliant on PPC at this time of year, then the likelihood is you're just simply being outbid because of the time of year. That's what it is. So if your sales are going down, they shouldn't be, because they should be going up now. We're on that trajectory, guys. So for anyone that doesn't know this, if you're new here, if your sales should probably be a little bit like that. Maybe at the moment, your month hopefully should look like that. Now that, of course, is in the best world scenario that you are fully stocked and you've got everything in stock. The likelihood is it's more a bit like that. But overall, the beginning to the end of the month, that's what your chart should look a little bit like now. Next month, it'll probably more like that. And then December, it's like that. So, you know, that's the way to look at it. Yanni says, if you can afford to lose it, you shouldn't do it. Only at scale makes a lot of sense. And Sean says, absolutely. Unfortunately, everybody's experienced it, some more than others. You talk to Ben, who's part of this group, lost a similar amount of money on Amazon this year. You know, it's one of those things, unfortunately. It's not right. It's not good. I don't know if I necessarily agree with, if you can't afford to do it, you shouldn't take the chance, because I know plenty of people that have made a lot of money over the years and have gone from hero to zero and they've lost it all. But when is the point when you get reliant on it and it's not necessarily you can't afford to lose it, but you don't want to lose it? I think that's a whole nother question for a whole nother day. But
Yeah.
I don't think you should ever jeopardize the roof over your head. That's probably the way to look at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Hassan said, I have upped my bid price to the max. So suppose the suggestion is between 1 and 2. My bid is 2. Yeah, just keep pushing it up. Yeah, I can have a look at it. Send it through to me. I'll have a look at it, Hassan. But yes, no impressions means you are not bidding. You're not competing. So you're going to have to test it. It could be a setting, could be something else that's suppressing it. But yeah, send it through and I'll have a look. But you're going to have to send me some screenshots of the campaign and the settings and everything like that. It could well be that all of your other campaigns are budgeting out, they're maxing out, and there's not any money left over for that campaign. But unlikely, because you would still have some impressions at some point. So it can't be really anything else other than bid unless it's something specific. So just keep trying. Don't, like I said, bid prices are going crazy right now. You've got to think by the start of Q4 to when it ends, that PPC cost will increase fourfold between the start and the end of Q4. That's how much it can go up. So, and sometimes people are fighting for sales now. So we've noticed in particular PPC cost. This is the biggest increase I've seen this year at this point. So it's gone a bit crazy for sure. Karam says, right, make this the last point and then we shall wrap it up for the afternoon. I think it takes at least 6 to 8 months as a beginner before you're making good regular income. If you take action consistently, it is. And never do anything in desperation as well. I think, you know, both ways. Never do anything good in desperation or anything bad in desperation. Consistency is key and that will always win. Just think what you achieve in a year's time if you just do one thing a day. 365 things. What would your business look like if you have action 365 things in your business this time next year?
Yeah.
I think that's the simplest way to look at it. Just one thing. We overwhelm ourselves with doing too much. I've got a huge task, you know, redoing all of the training for the Hive again in a matter of weeks. But I can't think of it like that. I think of it one module at a time, one video at a time, because that stuff really brings me down. I hate recording, to be perfectly honest. My worst thing. I love live, but there are some types of trainings that just do not suit it, I'm afraid. So I have to think of the 365 new modules that I've got to make, that I've just got to do them one day at a time. It's not going to take me a year, guys. I'll just clarify that. Okay, one thing to mention, it was not ranked organically on those keywords. One is at 11,000 search volume, and now I'm at 3 organic. But the sponsored rank is not there at all. Okay, yeah, send it over. So it's a bit hard to talk about it on here. Yeah, send that over. Have a look. Okay, but in conclusion, guys, do Amazon hate third-party sellers? No, I really don't think they do. I think we're here to stay. I think the market's changing. It's evolving. I think there's lots going on. Yeah, that'll be a big one. That will be a big one, Sean, tomorrow. Biggest in our lifetime, in a generation, apparently. So, but do you know what? Again, I'm not going to watch it as it happens. I'm gonna catch the update at about 6 o'clock afterwards. I'm just not interested because it doesn't really affect my life. Well, it does. Sorry, it does. The budget.
Yeah, what time is the budget? Do you know what time it starts?
It's normally about lunchtime-ish, isn't it? Something like that. There's nothing in that can be said in that budget tomorrow. For me personally, and I can only talk in my own experience, that is going to derail anything that I'm doing right now. Because,
Well, for me, a little bit. Not derail, but it's going to cause some issues. The sick pay. If they change the sick pay, where workers get rights from day one, if you have to pay sick pay from day one, increasing NI by 2%, that's an extra 4 or 5K a year. Not derail. It's just going to be. I think they feel like everything that is it's just going to hurt small businesses. For us, we'll be all right because we're profitable and we do well. But for a lot of businesses which are sort of break even and struggling, and they're going to really, really struggle. Just get labeled. Just goes after the small guys.
Stark reality of it is, and this is the way I think you've got to look at it. And this is not me against one party or for another. Think of me as unbiased in what I say here. And a little bit like the Amazon situation, I think the private school thing is a really good example. I am neither against nor for, that policy. I believe that anybody entered into the private school, I feel that there should be a grandfathered period, a bit like when Amazon make a change. I think there should be a grandfather period that anyone that's in the private school situation with the VAT on fees should be allowed to spend out the time with the child because that's what they've budgeted for. That's what they've done this. And it should be for new people moving forward. But don't underestimate the amount of people that will be pulling their kids out of the private school system. And I think it's a little bit like that with the workers. Someone like yourself and, having employees, Johnny, what will potentially happen in that scenario is some businesses will just suck it up. They'll have to. Other businesses might not be able to suck it up. It won't put them out of business, but it could it could work, but you might have to let someone go. And the rest of the staff might have to suck up that extra work. Or it might prevent you from hiring that new person that you were thinking of taking on. So there's always a knock-on effect somewhere.
Yeah, if you too aggressively increase minimum wages and taxes for employers, then you just end up hiring less people and people have to do more work. And then obviously there's an unemployment issue and all that as well. But at the end of the day, like it's always, it affects us short term, but long term, when the next sort of wage review comes by, that 2% is going to go into that and be like, well, you're giving a 2% increase, like not directly, but your cost went up 2%. So we have to take off that 2% from your next increase. Yeah. Right.
And dare I say it, and we've talked about this over the last couple of years, that Amazon has favored one way of building a business. I really do believe that we're in the shift at the moment where it's favoring setting up an Amazon business is moving back into side hustle territory. I spoke about it with Mark last week. Mark said himself there, 60 UK staff. It's going to hurt us big time. It's going to hurt you, Johnny. It's going to hurt us. We've got UK staff anyway as well. But what it's not going to hurt is Linda in her bedroom, working on that side hustle.
at the end of it, it only really benefits the government because businesses put their prices up, so then the customer's got to pay more and just more tax to the government, right? It's not benefiting anyway. I guess that's what they're trying to do.
But the
is get
reality of it is, you know, bringing Amazon back to an income stream. I think people like us have pushed Amazon as the big 7-figure, you know, dream, because that's what it was. You know,
I
that's
still think it's the best. Like I've said this
it still
before.
is.
Like I still think, again, the good thing why Amazon's for me is so much better than property is that it's, if a recession happens, Amazon will be okay, but property will struggle, and a lot of those property people will go under. I think Amazon is recession proof. I think it's inflation proof, like proven inflation proof, because our sell price increases are beating inflation.
Yeah.
So it's inflation proof and recession proof. Having an Amazon business right now is great as a side hustle or a full-time hustle, no matter what it is. I think it's a really good place to be in.
I'm working with a couple of people, and I think it's a really smooth, small move. I'm working with some people that have sort of said, do you know what? I don't want to scale it to where it's going. I want to start treating it like an income stream again. I've been out of the working place for 3 years, and I'm going to take a job again. I'm going to take a job, going to reprioritize. I'm going to look at bringing it back to a side hustle and moving it on there. The 7-figure dream is not for everyone. There is a place and there is a time when that was the right thing to be able to work towards and grow. And you still can. Life's all about choice, right? You know, it's all about putting yourself in a position to do that. I really do feel Amazon's like this. It ebbs and flows over the years. And I really do believe that Amazon is going back, not more. Sorry, and I'm not talking about like Johnny or myself or something like that. I'm talking about if you are starting out and you're in your first year or so, and maybe you were sold on the 7-figure dream, you might want to manage your expectations a little bit and, you know, reevaluate what you actually do truly want to achieve out of this, because the game has changed. It's as simple as that.
7-figure dream. I still think it's there.
It is.
We're still growing 40% a year.
We always work towards 7-figure, but you don't have to hit it.
That's 7-figure profit or revenue.
Huh? No, always revenue, because well, yes, you and I are different. We work on high margins. You don't. So, you know, I'm always happy talking turnover, whereas you want profit. So I get that. But I think it's you have to be able to have multiple diverse income streams, and that's where we're leading towards in the Hive. We're going to teach you to be awesome Amazon sellers. We're going to teach you to make money on Amazon, and then we're going to diversify. It's as simple as that. That's the way we're going to be doing it, and that's the safest way. And we got the last 2 or 3 years, you've not needed to diversify. Now you do. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm always being diversified. That's my sort of thing. I think I always go on about.
Oh, so have I.
Yeah.
But there are times when you need to talk about it and times you don't. Yeah. And I think we're in the diversification stage now for sure. Mark said, and I'm really living my life by this at the moment, guys. And I really want to practice what I preach. And that's exactly what's happening. I'm diversifying. We're all diversifying. We're all doing different things. And Mark says business is tough, really tough. Amazon's a great side gig. But I'm living my life from my own personal circumstances at the moment. And I posted it yesterday on Facebook. My favorite quote, motto, whatever to work for at the moment is tough times don't last, but tough people do. It's as simple as that. You know, personally and in business.
Yep.
It's don't allow it to consume you. That's the thing.
Yeah, I had multiple failures in my 20s, but I just kept going. Didn't deter me, and then I just cracked one, and now I'm here. Right. So yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, and not everyone's going to make it. That's the honest truth, and that's coming from the words of an Amazon guru. Not everyone's going to make it, I'm afraid. You know, but don't forget what you learn along the way. I learned this from my good friend Cindy. if you're either learning or earning. You're doing one of them. And I just did a TikTok video on this. So if you haven't watched it, go to Natalie at Natalie Buybox. And I just did this today. I didn't even know I was going to say this. I did an experiment because someone actually told me about it. And I thought, well, I'll have a look at this myself. I had a look on the online job market to see what my Amazon skills would get me. And do you know what it gets me? Actually, a pretty nice gig. Of all my Amazon skills that I've earned, I found a job remote so I can work from home. Might apply for it as well. You never know. Extra income for a massive national beauty brand. So like ticks my boxes 100%. I love beauty. I love everything about beauty. So huge beauty brand that goes into salons and things like that. And running their Amazon vendor account. And it paid like 65 grand a year. Medical insurance, dental, everything like that. I couldn't have applied for that job before selling on Amazon. Now I can. And no one's going to beat me to that job. Yeah. I'm getting that job.
Yeah. Unfortunately for me, I don't think anyone would hire me. I'm too elusive, too all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm not employable. I'm just, no.
There we go. Mark says 60 to 120k for SNAM, a senior national account manager. Exactly. So yeah. 100%. I could probably, I'm not employable anymore, especially not in my personal circumstances. And I say that in the video, I'm not employable. I'm not going to go back. But I know, like Mark's I could probably come into your business, Johnny. You pay me 60 grand a year and I'll make you a fortune. Because of
everything. You tell me. I need someone like you. Actually, right now. I'm a business dev manager.
Yeah.
Actually, you're perfect for what I need right now. So if you want to come across.
But this is what I'm saying. Never forget the skills that you're learning, guys. And if somebody, as someone who, my last job was in recruitment, if somebody come through to me and said, if they were applying for a job, do you know what? I've been out of the job market. I've been running my own business, but this is what I've learned. This is what I can bring to a business. Now, moving forward, that if you know how to utilize that, you will never not have to worry.
Yeah, I mean, relationship building, sales plus knowledge, and you get a job anywhere, right?
Absolutely. I'm unemployable, but I'm the most employable person I know.
Yeah.
For all of my experience. And that always, gives a sense of, and I want people to have that confidence as well in knowing that it's not time wasted. Everything's transferable.
We have a job with both me and Mark, aspiring Mark is hiring as well. So,
I could play you off against each other.
Yeah.
I could do a bit of salary warfare there.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I always have to have Tuesdays and Fridays off though as well for that full-time
salary. The last episode because Natalie.
I know I'm joining someone's team for sure. Right, guys, we will wrap it up. So we'll see you next week. I've actually got Luke Colwell coming on next week. After me talking about TikTok and everything, he's going to come on and talk to us a little bit about the updates in TikTok and everything that's been going on there, what the platform has looked like over the last 6 months, the experiences, the changes. Luke's working with a few marketing agencies, and I think by this time next week he's been to the TikTok offices and everything like that. So I think that's going to be a cool one for anyone that's interested in looking at the TikTok side of things, because that's definitely a part of the brand that I'm working on and building at the moment. TikTok is going to be a big part of that future for sure. So,
your TikTok handle?
Pardon?
What's your TikTok handle?
Oh yeah, at Natalie Buybox. So I have become a TikTok guru now as well.
TikTok guru.
So even though, look, I normally go to Hayden and Luke for my advice on stuff on TikTok, and they think I'm like a granny. I ask them the most Billy basic questions. I'm like, how do you reply to someone like this? Or how do you change this? And they just laugh at me. because I'm so not technical. I'm good at making content, but I'm just not good at like putting it on there. So I ask all these sort of questions about it. So don't expect anything fancy, but hopefully there's some good solid advice on there. That's the direction in which I'm going. You're not going to catch me down the aisles in B&M, just to make everyone aware. It's not the route. Not the route. Thank you, Kurum. I appreciate it. So please go on and follow, because I'm like 200 viewers away or followers, I don't even know what they're called, away from being able to go live. So I can start going live, once I thought I could go live before 1,000, but it turns out the button was just there. I don't think I can. So there. Kurum says, I'm employed and still unemployable. Yeah. Matt Cromie's got that. Oh, no, he's not employed. He's unemployable and... Oh, no, he's not unemployed. No, I think I said that wrong. Anyway, thanks, Andy. Appreciate it. Yeah, hopefully you enjoy it. And it's, it's good. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a new challenge. So, yeah, I've definitely enjoyed it for sure. So we will see you next week, or I will see you with Luke next week. He's going to jump on. So I think we've got to do it slightly later because of one of the lives in his group. So I think we might be on about 1:30. Something like that next week. So any questions, keep popping them in the group. I hope everyone has a good week. But yes, start to enjoy it a little bit more, guys, now, because we are starting to come the next 6 weeks. What Joe was talking about at the start, this should be the fun and enjoyable part. I know it's been a bit of a rocky start to Q4, more so than normal, but this is definitely the time when you should enjoy being an Amazon seller.
Always. Yeah.
Cool. Right. Have a good week, everyone. See you later. Bye.
See ya. Bye.